Darling dearest, all I want for Christmas is you. I've always loved you. You've been my sweet toffee pudding, my strawberries and cream, my sugar sweet love. I love your figure, your thick supple thighs, your plump breasts, your smooth tender stomach. Your juicy ass that never failed to draw my eye. I wanted to make this Christmas extra special. I could barely contain my excitement as I made preparations for Christmas dinner. My entire family was coming over and I wanted to impress them. The meat was in the oven, the vegetables were boiling on the stove, and the delicious smells were permeating the whole house. It wasn't long until my timer went off. Time to baste the meat. I put on my oven gloves and pulled the tray from the oven. The scented steam enveloped me and my mouth started to water in anticipation. I carefully basted the meat, making sure it was all equally covered. I didn't want to miss a bit and disappoint my family. Finally my family arrived. Once everyone was present, they began to seat themselves at the table. Everyone complimented both my cooking skills and the way my love looked. Her eyes reflected the Christmas candlelight, making it look just that touch more magical. Once the meat was carved, and everyone had helped themselves to sides, we all tucked in. Murmurs of delight filled the air, comments of tasting as good as it looked and almost as good as Grandma's filled the scented air. I was waiting to get Grandma's own opinion. Turns out I needn't have worried. She loved it. I could barely contain my pride. "This is delicious," came Grandma's quiet yet steady voice. "I remember how much your girlfriend loved my old fancy serving platter. Doesn't she look lovely on it?" First off, I apologize if this gets a little rambling. I'm dictating into a word processor. You can call me Carver. Not my real name, obviously, but ever since the media started calling me the Carver, I took a shining to it. I'm a pretty normal guy. I work a 9-to-5 job, live in an apartment, single but not bothered by it. I visit my parents fairly often. And I occasionally kill people. It started when I was a teenager. Walking home from school, I saw a man dressed in a business suit standing in an alleyway, texting on his phone. A compulsion took over me, so I pulled out my pocket knife, snuck up behind him, and stabbed the sucker to death. Then, a random inspiration popped into my head, and I carved first CRNTH 1522 into his chest. I honestly don't know why I kill. It's simply a compulsion, and it comes as easily as deciding to go see a movie or get a haircut. It doesn't affect me psychologically, and I still lead a normal social life. As for the carving, I hate to dispel the many theories, but they usually don't mean anything. I merely pick a symbol or something at random. Anyway, the reason I'm sending out this message, the last few killings that have rocked you all to the core, the ones with the mutilated faces and obscene language cut into the body. Those are not my work. Someone is obviously trying to copy me, and doing a poor job of it, too. I intend to find this piggybacking freak and, wait. Who's knocking this time of night? Hello? To whomever is reading, this is the real Carver. I have dealt with the nutcase that's been dictating the crock of lies written above. You'll find his body at the corner of 15th and Elm, with copycat carved into his chest. Until next time. And I promise, there will be a next time. Not all my daughters are mine. There was supposed to be only one. Let me start from the beginning. I'd seen all the scans, talked to my wife, even chatted to the gynecologist once. All of them said she was supposed to have a baby girl. But 3 cradles were left beside my wife's hospital bed. Nothing could distinguish them, aside from the labels on the cradles. All the doctors and nurses insisted they had delivered 3 babies. My wife was exhausted after the delivery, so I kept my worries to myself and let her rest. She later decided to keep all of them. If only one was ours, what would happen to the others? She couldn't bear to abandon a child. Besides, we wouldn't be able to forgive ourselves if we threw out our own child. Thus, we raised Ellie, Elaine and Emily as our own. As they grew, Emily became moodier than the others. While the others would be chatting at the dinner table, she would be sulking in the corner. Although I was fine with her antics, I'm not the most extroverted person either. I couldn't help but compare her to her more lively sisters. I remember on their 12th birthday, Elaine seemed jitterish. She was fidgeting, biting her nails, as if anticipating something horrible. But every time I asked, she'd claim she was all right. As we sat down at the dinner table, she gagged, choking on seemingly nothing. We gave her a cup of water, but she continued choking, only able to wheeze a faint help. My wife quickly ran to hold her up, pushing her fist into her stomach a few times. I don't know whether to be grateful that she remembered the Heimlich maneuver from our first aid classes. Elaine lurched forward, spewing onto the table. Amongst remnants of lunch and spots of blood was a creature somewhere between a fish and an insect. My wife jumped back, as the other girl screamed. Elaine, or whatever was Elaine, slumped onto the table, face down into the puke. The creature that came out glanced up at me with huge, glassy eyes. We could only watch as it skittered away with stubby legs, leaving a trail of slime in its wake. A lot of therapy was needed. My wife and the remaining two were shaken, but I felt especially guilty. I was the one who cared for Elaine all those years. How could I have not noticed she wasn't human? What if she had gone and put the rest in danger? Even so, one out of the imposters was gone. Recently, Ellie has been equally jitterish. She jumps at small noises, and though she tried to reassure me, her shifty eyes gave everything away. I'm certain she's the other one. Tonight, I will take a knife into the girl's room and put an end to whatever is masquerading as Ellie. I hope I'm right. But if I'm not, I'll take Emily and then myself. If you're reading this, my love, I'm sorry.